How's it going, good friends? Brian from Apex Detail once again. This is another installment of Mail Call. This is where I can answer your questions face to face. I think I can get a lot more across to you guys rather than just typing and sending it off to you. Let's get this started right away. Jim wants to know pad choice for correction on Nissan Clear, Nissan Rano, and that depends on quite a few things. Let's start with this. Nissan Clear is going to be thin to begin with. Those types of cars, there's just not a whole lot of material to start with. They recommend manufacturers that know what they're doing anyways to have 2 mils of thickness on there from factory. A lot of the factory manufacturers aren't even getting 2 mils on there, maybe 1 3/4 mils. So you want to use the least aggressive method necessary. If you have some real harsh imperfections, what I would use then to cut would be a Microfiber 50/50 pad. Not too crazy when it comes to aggression, or one of the lighter cutting foam pads. When it comes to foam pads, it could be any color. You just have to look into what the lighter cutting foam pads will be for the pad line of your choice. If you're going for just lighter imperfections, I would recommend something like a light polishing pad. When it comes to correction fluid, there's so many out there, and you can revert to some of the videos on my channel to pick one that would work well. But something there that also is not very aggressive would be advised. I hope that helps. The next question from multiple sources wants to know about my recipe for interior cleaning. And it's not a secret that I'm really not blown away by any of the interior cleaning products that are out there and available today. So I came up with my own cocktail, my own recipe. And since I do need to fill up one of my containers, I'll quickly show that to you. And just keep in mind, it's one of the smaller containers. So if you do need to adjust for a larger container, like a 32-ounce spray bottle, or if you need to adjust the ratios for how soiled the interior cockpit is or how lightly soiled it is, just do so and work on those. Experiment with those ratios like I have, and I have 3 or 4 different bottles already mixed up with different ratios. I just happen to be out of one of my smaller bottles, so let me show that to you now. All right, I like to carry these little bottles around in my interior cart, but I'll mix something up in a regular 32-ounce spray bottle that has measurements on the side here. So the first 2 chemicals that we're going to use, or products, are going to go 10-to-1 and 10-to-1, which will bring us to 5-to-1 right here. So we'll split that in half. And it's either going to be, you could use a degreaser or an all-purpose cleaner, but they tend to leave a little bit of a residue behind. I love to use this tannin remover. Any tannin remover would work. This one just happens to be from Matrix. Tannin removers are spot removers. So we'll go ahead and pour that in there till it's halfway up to the 5-to-1 ratio mark right there. Okay, that's the first product. The second product is going to be Tide Cold Water Clean. You can also use Sport here. There's also a Febreze version. Anything with the odor defense or cold water clean seems to work the best. I'm going to take that up the rest of the way to the 5-to-1 mark. A little bit more. Right there. I'm going to stop right there with those 2. Okay, the next product for the recipe is going to be Dawn, and we're going to put 1 ounce of Dawn in there. Doesn't take a lot. You don't want a lot in there to begin with. And after an ounce, you can barely even see a move in measurement anyway. So that's the third product. The fourth product will be OxyClean, and just enough to cover the bottom of the little scoop that they give you. Pour that in there as well. And then fill the rest up with warm water. Now, of course, it's not going to stay warm, so when you go to use it, let the bottle soak in some warm water, or however you could heat it up a little bit. Helps with the cleaning power. Fill up the rest of the way right up to that line there. And that is the perfect ratio or mixture for medium soiled interiors. If it's a lightly soiled, cut back on the ingredients, just to experiment with it. If you have a heavily soiled interior, then you can beef up the combination and the dilution ratio of those products. Within 20 minutes, the OxyClean has dissolved in the solution. I use this not only for interiors, I use it for pad cleaning and also microfiber cleaning as well. These are all household products that you might have laying around. The only thing I really had to order and add to it is the tannin remover, and that happens to be Matrix. You can use any tannin remover, but that gallon there has lasted me a long time, and I still have 3/4 of the bottle to go. So all of this stuff laying around the house, very cheap, inexpensive, and very effective. The next good question comes from Ben. Ben Runkle wants to know what to clean his coated wheels with. Well, first of all, it shouldn't take a lot. They're already coated, so they should clean easy or easier than they did before you coated them. So try pressure washing them first. If that doesn't work, ONR or any rinseless wash solution. Within that coating line, there should be a cleaner that's recommended to go along and clean that coating safely. You can also use a P&S brake buster, but dilute it heavily, 10-to-1, maybe even further if you can. It should be successful cleaning. It shouldn't take much. Again, you could also use a quick detailer. That will give you enough lubrication that you could safely clean without abrading your wheels. Remember, brake dust is one of the most abrasive elements to come in contact with your car on any surface. The next question is from Matthew Stevens, and he's having problem with linting on his plush microfibers, the higher GSM. Yeah, that will happen. I looked over what you're using to clean them, and that's perfectly fine. I use 3D Towel Clean. Kleen. A great price for the gallon, very effective. You don't need a lot. It's not harsh for the fibers on those microfibers. What I like to do, I saw that you like to hang yours out to dry, and that's perfectly fine. You can do that, but what I like to do before I start to use them, before I pack them away, bring them back to the shop, and put them away, is run them in through the dryer, tumble dry, low heat. That will get rid of any loose lint. That will help you a lot. Give that a shot. For the next question, Bo Gust wants to know what I use and recommend for a medium cut pad. Medium cut, that's a pad you've seen me use plenty of times on the channel, and I highly recommend, and that is the Microfiber 50/50 pad. 50% of those fibers are going to be for cutting, 50% are for polishing, finishing, so it really makes a perfect balance and a nice smooth cut all the way across the panel. Wool pads, the Lake Country hybrid pads are fine, and also Buff and Shine makes some decent medium cut foam pads. Next, John Goodwin wants to know what I think about using the Kraus & Becker airless sprayer as a foamer. Hey, I know there are other nozzles out there that you could purchase for the airless sprayers, especially the Kraus & Becker. If you could find one that gives you the foam that you're looking for, absolutely, pick it up and use it. That unit is fantastic. The only trouble is finding the right nozzle that fits in there to give you the foam that you're looking for. Next, Mayul Murar wants to know about the MaxShine M1000 Rotary. Hey, listen, as long as you're getting a Rotary, I'm happy. I don't care what it is. The 1000 watt will work. I use the M550, which is a smaller unit because of my shoulders, and it does put up with the abuse that I give it. That's really not meant to use on a whole vehicle, but I do, and it really holds up. But the M1000 is perfect. I also recommend the DeWalt. Torque makes a good one. Chicago Electric, the old version, I wouldn't recommend any of the crap from Harbor Freight right now. And also the Flex 3403. But I'm really happy that you picked up the Rotary. I hope you grab some panels with it. I hope everybody does and adds that polisher to their arsenal. Guys, how you go to work without it, I really don't understand. It's like being a doctor and going in to perform surgery without the scalpel. Next up, Brad wants to know how to find out if scratches are through the clear. Well, if you can run your fingernail across it and it skips, the fingernail skips, it's going to be pretty far down into the clear coat, and you can hide those, but you will not make, I'll tell you, it's not worth chasing after them and taking the clear coat out so thin that it can't protect the base coat anymore. If you could skim your fingernail over the scratch and you hardly feel anything, you could probably remove it completely. If your fingernail goes in there and it stops, it's through probably the clear coat, the base coat, and you can only make it look a little bit better. But yeah, please don't go chasing all of those scratches and taking the clear down too thin. Do a little bit of wet sanding, do a little bit of polishing, and you can hide those successfully. Removing the ridges within the scratch really helps. It keeps the light from going in there, bouncing around all of those ridges. That's what makes the scratch look bad. But yeah, take your fingernail. That's the easiest way without having to purchase any instruments. Just take your fingernail, rub it across there. If it goes easily across, you can remove it probably. If it makes it bounce, it's deep enough where you probably don't want to chase after it, but you can make it look a heck of a lot better. And if it really catches and stops your fingernail, you have some real trouble where it's probably down in through the base coat. And you might want to throw a little bit of touch-up paint in there as well. All right, guys, that's going to do it for mail call. I hope this helps. It really helps me to get across my point a little bit better doing it in this format, and I hope you enjoy it. There's going to be a lot more of these to come. It's really hard to keep up with your questions, which the questions are absolutely fantastic. I love that you guys are inquisitive and you want to learn. Like I said, I do have the best subscriber base on YouTube, and I thank you for it. Catch you guys in the next video. If you're enjoying the content from the channel, be sure to like, subscribe, share, and hit that notification bell.